Hello and welcome to the Bird Talk Show. I'm so glad you're able to join us today. It's going to be a really fun show. We've got a great cast of characters already showing up over here in the chat. Thank you guys so much for being here live. If you're watching the replay, welcome and thank you very much. We couldn't continue with the Bird Talk Show for very long if it weren't for our replay crew, and it wouldn't be much of a show if it weren't for you guys here in the live chat. We've got Canestio Valley Cichlids stating, help, I need birdgarden. Well, we're here for you, brother, just as you've been there for us. And kudos for that #1 slot in the chat today. Let me say hello just quickly here to S, Lefty3213A, Anyfin Goes, Barb D, Whips World, and Misfit Reptiles and Aquatics. If I missed you, it certainly wasn't intentional. And you are welcome. Whether I was able to give you a shout out or not, I'll be checking in with you guys from time to time today. Right now, let me just mention that birds are moving. Some places the birds are gone. Some places the birds are arriving. Facts. That's science. And we're just having fun watching the birds come and go, come and go. I want you to have some of that fun. So we're going to talk about the easy way you can follow bird migration. You already got some ideas. I'm going to solidify those for you. I'm going to give you some ideas, turn you loose, let you find your own ideas, and I hope you'll report back to us. We'd like to know about the bird migration you're finding out there in your neck of the woods, wherever you're viewing from. The Zen Ginger is here. Got some modification going on in the chat now, so everyone be on your best behavior. Thank you, the Zen Ginger, for being here and helping out with the moderation details. So, if you've been paying attention, following along the Bird Talk Show, you know last week we had an outstanding, amazing show with special guest Dr. Chris Haney. If you haven't watched that, by all means, make yourself a note, write it down. After this live stream, head on over and watch last week's. Dr. Haney wrote the book, Woody's Last Laugh, about the ivory-bill woodpecker. And that rascal just goes extinct and comes back and goes extinct again and comes back. So he really does have the last laugh. Woody the woodpecker. The ivory-bill woodpecker looks like Woody the woodpecker. I mean, maybe that was what they modeled the cartoon bird after. It's a fantastic bird, Woody the woodpecker. And the ivory-bill woodpecker. Of course, yes, great birds, great guest. I'm reading that book, Woody's Last Laugh, and I'm going to use two words that come to mind: amazing and outstanding. Amazing and outstanding book. I'm about 3 chapters in, but I'm a thorough, slow reader. If you get the book and you decide to read it, I'm going to give you a hint right here. Do yourself a favor and read the end notes included with every chapter, and they're exhaustive. You talk about the research. I think Chris may have mentioned it was 15 years writing this book. And chapter 1 goes down smoothly. Intriguing. Yes. I'm glad I hopped on this train because I want to be wherever it's going. And then you get to the end notes and you're like, what? Yeah, something like 150 notes on chapter 1. So chapter 2, mind completely blown. I sent Dr. Haney a note. Chapter 2, mind blown. I'm enjoying. I am a bird nerd, and I've got the T-shirt to prove it. Okay, I'm telling you, I love this book. If you want a good read, you like a mystery. That's what Dr. Haney said last week. Check it out. You want to know more about the book? Watch last week's live stream. Thank you again, Dr. Haney, for being on the show. And it was awesome. I love the conversation. Time was flying by. I can't wait to have Dr. Haney on as a guest again. Speaking of special guest, listen, I got 2, one from the past, one in the future. One in the past. You know our friend Ashby Gale, paleontologist over there at Charleston Fossil Adventures. Been on the show a couple times. He's helped me understand the East Coast fossils to a far greater extent than I would have as just a layperson bumbling around on YouTube. So he was kind enough to come on a couple of times and talk to us about fossils, both fish and bird fossils, just cool stuff. And we've been working with each other behind the scenes, on our YouTube game. And we share definitely a common knowledge in natural history. I mean, common interest. And we're sharing what knowledge is not common between us so that we both grow in our knowledge of natural history, but our common interest. And Ashby recently rose with the Charleston Fossil Adventures YouTube channel to the rank of the monetized. And he sent me the kindest note thanking me for my effort in helping him become monetized, and wanted me to pass along to the Bird Garden channel viewers a special thanks for all of your support. And without you, he would not have become monetized as quickly as he did. So he recognizes your community effort and sends thanks. And we just that was priority, right? How many channels have we helped reach that goal of 1,000 subscribers? That's the hardest ones to get. The first 1,000, every YouTuber will tell you. And you've helped this channel grow 1.35K subscribers. Thank you very much. I appreciate you very much. We're not monetized yet because we're still trying to accumulate the 4,000 hours of watch time within 12 months. We're at 1.8 thousand. Now, it's a little misleading because I also have been recognized by YouTube at the Bird Garden channel for having quickly amassed over 10,000 hours of watch time. How could that be? Well, so the partnership program, the monetization program, does not include the hours from the 24/7 live stream, the bird feeding station right here at the Bird Garden channel, 24/7. Check it out right now. We'll go take a peek. I mean, I don't have the screen shared at the moment, but before the broadcast is over, we'll check in on the 24/7 bird feeding station. And that doesn't count toward monetization. And the viral videos, the 10,000, 20,000 view short videos, also not counting toward monetization. So even though we've amassed over 10,000 hours of view time in a year, only 1.8 is countable. So this live stream counts toward those hours. If you know anybody that might like this type of content, give the video a thumbs up so that the algorithm can do its thing. Let's do a grassroots effort and hit that share button and share it on your Facebook and your Twitter and your Instagram, whatever social media you're using. Call your grandma, as Corey at Aquarium Co-op used to teach. Call your grandma. Tell her she needs to tune in to this live stream. She's going to have a great time. And let's do that. That's our goal. Let's go get it. Okay, and we will. Thank you very much. We'll get there when we get there. Let's just make sure we're being attentive and doing what we can as we can. And I appreciate you guys very much. You've helped so many people. You've helped this channel. We're helping each other. It's just a great part of the YouTube experience. Without it, I don't know if I would be nearly as interested. Okay, so Ashby over there at Charleston Fossil Adventures recently got monetized. We collabed behind the scenes. I want to share something with you. He was receptive to hosting a bird watching trail. Now that had everything to do with him hanging out with us bird nerds, right? And I was able to do just apply my life's work, my experience to a project that he had the perfect platform to host. He's an outdoor guy. He's taking clients outdoors. He's teaching them to appreciate the importance of conservation and consuming responsibly these beautiful natural resources we have all around us, especially down there in Charleston, South Carolina. Wow, what a coastline with all of the brackish water and the inlets and the history. Worth preserving. That was the whole point there. Worth preserving. So I think that a birding trail could help him do that. Let's see. Let me show you what he's got going on over there. Look at that. That is the Low Country Birding Trail, the newest birding trail in the United States, as far as you know. It's the Low Country Birding Trail, LBT, and it is hosted by the Charleston Fossil Adventure Company, LLC. And Ashby would like for everyone to share their experiences at hashtag CharlestonLBT. And again, based out of Charleston, South Carolina, it is the Low Country Birding Trail. It goes all over the coast down there. You can check. I'll post a link over here for you to look at that on the website. It's on the Charleston Fossil Adventure website. Let's see if I can copy and paste a link. Copy link address, paste over here in the YouTubes. No, I can't, because the link address from Facebook that he sent me is 341 characters. I'm only allowed 200. So go over there to Charleston Fossil Adventures website and click on the blog tab. And I think he's got a blog posted where he's launched the new Low Country Birding Trail. Click around over there, have some fun, show Ashby some love and support. Keep your eye out on the Charleston Fossil Adventure YouTube channel for shout outs and information about the Low Country Birding Trail that Ashby and I collaborated on. I'm very excited about it. So cool. And we're talking today about bird movement and the easy way for you to see bird movement. Well, guess what? Everything's related, right? We're all related. You know, one of the easiest ways to see bird migration is on a birding trail. Now, a lot of these birding trails that are in the world exist because they're located in a flyway. Okay, flyways are like highways for bird that they travel. When do birds travel? Well, they travel during migration to go to a breeding ground, then go away from the breeding ground. Go back to the breeding ground, go away from the breeding. Usually it happens a couple times a year, fall and spring. Here's my theory. You can develop your own. You can fact check me. You can just do some fun research and report back to us with what you find. Here's my theory. Birds, when they nest and raise families, establish territories, and they defend those territories. So they need more space to spread out. Birds, when they're not defending a territory, when they don't need space to attract a mate and raise young and feed their young in their territory, when they don't need that space, I think it makes sense for them to migrate to an area. Think of Central America, very narrow in comparison to the United States and Canada, where a lot of the birds migrate north to establish breeding territory. They don't have the space, but it may be that they don't have to work so hard for food either. Maybe food is more abundant in the rainforest with lots of varying elevation, so birds can adjust to climate from cold to hot because of the altitude, and they don't need the breadth, they don't need the space. So maybe that's a reason that birds migrate. They're smart, they're innately programmed to do this, and so they have some phenomenal. We found out they've got phenomenal navigation skills. I mean, they can pinpoint. They can fly tens of thousands of miles and pinpoint where they want to have a territory because we put bands on them and trackers, and lots of ornithological data is collected. And hey, that's the same bird at the same spot, different year. Tens of thousands of miles may have been flown. Boom, exact same spot. Crazy. So when someone calls you a bird brain, I'm not sure if that's not a compliment. Anywho, if that's why birds migrate, it just helps us to understand a little bit. Oh, cool. Now we learned that they migrate and we capitalize on it. We establish birding trails in known flyways, right? Now you're guaranteed to have Guaranteed. Now that's a tough word. Don't hang me out to dry on guaranteed. I've never been to a place that didn't have birds. I'll tell you this: places that I've been, usually, if not always, possibly always, they have residential birds, birds that are there all year round, all the time. They have birds that are nesting birds. Okay, they've established territory, they're raising young. They have birds that are transient, that are just passing through. And they have birds that are nomadic. Well, they're here now, they may be somewhere else later. Not necessarily migrating, they're not on a pattern. They're just kind of flying around here now. Maybe they won't be later. That's four distinctly different populations of birds. And it occurs, species specific. Some birds are known to be nomadic, some are known to be migrant. And then you got these birds that they just change their minds. So you can't really put them in a category. Oh, which one are we very familiar with here at the Bird Garden channel? The red-headed woodpecker. It's our avatar. So if you go to the 24/7 live stream and you look at the bird feeder and you go to the description, in the description you'll see updates of when the red-headed woodpecker returned. Because last summer they nested. Summer before last, they nested. Summer before last, they nested, raised young. We saw them at the feeder, captured footage. We've got videos. Check it out. They're beautiful. And then they migrated, and we didn't see them all winter. Came back in the spring. Yay! Red-headed woodpeckers are back. So last year, they came back. They nested. They raised young. They came to the feeder. We captured footage. We shared it with you. I hope you take that in because it's quite a spectacle. And they did not migrate. They stayed all winter long. We saw them. We identified 7 different individuals. We saw 4 adults at the feeder at the same time. Made a video. Check it out. It's got the thumbnail is 4 red-headed woodpeckers. We also were able to identify 3 distinct juveniles because they were coming into mature plumage at different rates. So they looked identifiably different. So we had at least 4 adults because we saw them on the feeder at the same time. We had at least 3 juveniles based on different plumage patterns. So 7. I almost said ivory bill. Man, the internet would have been broken. We did not have 7 ivory bills at the 24/7 live feeding station here at the Bird Garden channel. We had 7 individual, at least 7 red-headed woodpeckers that did not migrate, which meant they overwintered here. Local bird data indicates sometimes, and by the way, they're more popular now than ever. They're in the Northeast Tennessee area where we're broadcasting from. Far more records. Definitely considered rare even a couple of years ago. Now, because every time I do a bird list in my backyard, the red-headed woodpecker's on it. So now it's becoming not a rare record to see one. And other people are reporting them more often at other locations, far more than have ever been reported in recorded history of Northeast Tennessee ornithology. So we got more birds, okay, more red-headed woodpeckers. But even with the scant records we had prior, it was noted that sometimes they overwinter and sometimes they migrate. So there we step into the birds having their own situational preferences. They got options. Their buffet of options isn't listed to what we understand as twice a year migration, north and south. Nah, I think I'm going to stay. I think I'm just going to hang out. So all that to say, if you find a birding trail, you're probably going to find, depending on the season, migrants, residents, nomads, perhaps overwintering, depending on when you're there at the birding trail. But the birding trail has been established because the birds are already there. They're accessible for you to see. And it's just the idea of some amenity or agency or organization making available to you this information so that you can see the birds on a birding trail. So I made this infographic that we're looking at on the screen. 8 people watching. You're looking at it right now. If you're watching the replay, take a minute and just read that. I'm not going to read it to you. That'd take the fun out of it. I'll point out one thing. You see the 4 orange squares, a little lower than center. The lower left square that's titled Economic Impact. That says 17 billion in tax revenue. Okay, that's a big, impressive number. Okay, but I want to unpack the benefit of that huge number. Okay, that is basically a user tax. I'm choosing to pay taxes on whatever it is that generates 17 billion in tax revenue annually. Then that includes birdwatching travel, birdwatching gear, birdwatching subscriptions to magazines, things of that nature. But here is the big takeaway from that big number. That 17 billion in tax revenue means that bird watching benefits not only the bird nerd, the bird watcher himself, but also everybody else. It benefits the birders and the non-birders because tax revenue goes not into conservation primarily. Very little bit of that will ever go to a conservation idea, which is okay. That's what tax revenue is for. I'm not railing here. This is not a rant. I'm just pointing out that's not conservation. That we do that some other ways. Okay. This is for infrastructure for everybody, road improvement, bridge improvement, education, health, safety. That's what tax revenue does. And it benefits everyone, the birder and the non-birder. Okay. So this is why I am an advocate for birding trails. They benefit everyone. We're raising awareness of conservation. Because of birding trails, you may become aware of a conservation cause that you want to get involved in that you otherwise wouldn't have. Certainly, birding trails' existence points you in that direction. Puts that on your mind. A birding trail. What's a birding trail? If you have no idea, you have the opportunity now to ask, what is a birding trail? And probably you're going to make some logical conclusions that will be accurate. Well, it's probably someplace you can see birds. Is it a long trail? You have to walk a long way? Good questions. Check into the individual birding trail and find out. Have you already clicked on the Low Country Birding Trail over there at Charleston Fossil Adventures to see what's happening? Pretty cool. And I do hope you will take a minute to read this little flyer I've put together here. And I use good resources that I trust. I wouldn't feed it to you if I didn't think it was true for me and you. So I think that's pretty cool. Definitely serves a purpose. Now, I've been designing and implementing and managing birding trails. Oh, I hate to say this. It just sounds so long. Over 10 years. Okay. I would say this is the culmination of my life's work. Building birding trails, designing birding trails. I've worked it out. I mean, the maximum benefit for the least resources expended and the least impact after it's implemented. It's pretty cool. So Ashby and I worked together on one. He's getting his head wrapped around it. He's getting benefits already as an outdoor conservation-minded individual, as a businessman, and as a bird watcher. It's a trifecta for Ashby. But more than 10 years ago, I did my first birding trail, designed it, built it, implemented it, managed it. It was called the Kingsport Birding Trail. Then there's still a Facebook group that doesn't want to focus, but it says Facebook group at the top. That's the Kingsport Birding Trail. So you can check out that Facebook group. You can go over there, ask to join, and just see the benefits. Read the little paragraphs that are to read. See how interesting it is. How the community gets involved. It's really amazing. I mean, the number of partnerships that spring up around that thing. I've never seen anything like it. And I was a career government guy, so networking and being familiar with system play. Not an individual entity or CEO, I saw a lot of networks and collaborations and team building and work chains. And I was able to take the good parts that I liked about all of those and compress them into something that I loved as a bird nerd, happened to be birding trail. So now taking that knowledge, and I've planted it all over. I mean, several states, national parks, cities. Uh, I won't let too many cats out of the bag right here, but yeah, I still do that. That's what I do. I love to do it. Started over 10 years ago, and now I can tell you it's a really easy place to see migrating birds. The work's already done. Where do I go? Go here. Do I have a birding trail near me? Google it. You want to make a special trip to a birding trail? I think that's where you get to wear the t-shirt that says you're a bird nerd. If you take a special trip to a place because it has a birding trail, you're probably a bird nerd. I do it all the time. I can't remember a time I didn't go in recent history, okay, adult history. I can't remember choosing a destination to go on vacation or on a birding event, on purpose that didn't involve bird watching somehow, because I love it. I love to take my family there. I'm glad that I taught my kids about birds. I'm thrilled to know that they're teaching their kids about birds. Wow, man, that's the nicest legacy I could leave. This teach your kids to love nature. That brought me the greatest happiness in my life outside of personal relationships. So yeah, do that. I'm all about that. Make your life better, make others' lives better, make your family's life better, your generation's life better. You hear me say it, and it sounds a little bit corny, but then I say it like I believe it, and it's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll watch a few of those videos. And then you find out, yeah, he probably means it. That's because I do. Once you see something, you can't unsee it, right? You can't unsee what you've seen. So, yeah, I'm happy to share that with you. So, easy migration watching, birding trails. The work's already done. Find one. What if you're not near one? What if you don't want to travel? Oh, man, you don't have to. Not a requirement. No shame in that game. Not everybody likes it. I get it. So then I'm going to say probably the easiest way to watch migration is to feed the birds wherever you are. If you're not in a situation that doesn't allow you to have a feeding station, go ahead and do a feeding station. Feed the birds. Now, I mentioned it already. If you look at the description of the 24/7 live bird feeding station here at the Bird Garden channel, you'll see where I gave updates on the arrival of birds. Well, that's bird migration happening. Now, right now, we still have the red-headed woodpeckers. We expect them to stay and nest again. It'll be the third year since we've been at this location that we've known about the red-headed woodpeckers here. I don't think they were here specifically in my yard prior, because there was a drastic habitat change that I think attracted them 3 years ago. So we got in at the baseline of the data collection on those guys. We think they're going to stay. Right now, if you go out there in the morning, especially, let me check in over here. You'll see the white-crowned sparrow. They're not out there now, or I would have shown you. They're not going to be here much longer. They got places to go. They're not going to breed here. They go far north to breed. As a matter of fact, the only breeding ground I've seen, and this isn't a limit to their range, it's just the only place I've seen the white-crowned sparrow nest, is Alaska. We were in Fairbanks, Alaska, and found white-crowned sparrows on territory. It was pretty cool, knowing that we had them in the wintertime over here in the mountains of Tennessee, and then breeding season. Wow, man, they're way up here. Danikin Aquatics, I just looked in the chat and saw you come in. I know I didn't speak to you before. Welcome. It's great to see you. Any other newcomers in the chat, welcome. Punchy Paints, there's Pam. Thank you for being here. Punchy Paint says, Rack's about to solve the age-old question, why did the chicken cross the road? I already know that, and I'll tell you if you want me to. Okay, East Tennessee, put this in context. Smoky Mountains, East Tennessee, Tennessee hollers. Okay. Why did the chicken cross the road? To show the possum it could be done. Now that is hilarious if you're from around here, because possums, the Virginia opossum is the mammal we're talking about. It's our only marsupial around here. The possum is notorious for not crossing the street very well. And we know this because we often find them at the bottom of a pile of vultures on the side of the road. Big cloud of vultures come up when you're driving by. Oh, they're having some possum and crackers over there on the side of the road. So yeah, the possums don't do very well crossing the street. So the chicken, being the good-natured animal it is, has a bird and all, it's just trying to show the possum it could be done. Okay, 12 people had to hear that. And we went to 13 instead of to 11, so that was good. Maybe Punchy Paints will instigate another joke, and we'll see each other on the moon with these numbers as they continue to soar. Possum Road Pizza, says the Zen Ginger. That is correct. Okay, so we got the bird feeding station, the easiest way to watch bird migration. You've seen it on our bird feeding station, 24/7 live bird feeding station here at Bird Garden channel. In the comment or in the description where we document, hey, this bird arrived, this bird left. The white-crowned sparrows go to the live feeding station. They'll be in this evening, 5, 6 o'clock. They'll be coming in for supper. Check them out because they may not be here tomorrow or the next day. They're ramping up. I guarantee you their bags are packed. Won't be long now. They'll be gone. They'll be replaced. We'll get the chipping sparrow back. I went for a walk with Lookout yesterday, and we saw the swallows are back in town. Migration is happening. Birds gone from somewhere, and now they're somewhere else. We got tree swallows, very early migrant here. It's like, here they come. Here they come. The tree swallows have already opened the gate. They're all coming up now. Won't be long. The warblers in the yard. Yay. All right, so depending on your situation and your preference, you want to see some bird migration because it's science. That's what they do. Go to a birding trail or go to your feeding station. I've got some videos, how to attract birds in less than 1 minute, cheap. I was at the everything's a dollar store, Dollar Tree, is that what they call it around here? They had bird food. I don't know if I endorsed it or not. I'm just saying they had it. All right. So for $1, you can hang out some bird seed. Every big box store. My goodness, the word's getting out. Word's getting out. How much revenue did that? Let's see. 45 million people, 17 billion. I don't have the number. It's a huge number of total expenditure, and they have a number. The United States Fish and Wildlife have a number for just bird feed, and it's amazing. So all the big box stores are in on it now. They're going to give you all the options you can stand to look at. All right. Now, the ones that you see me use on the live, the 24/7 live feeding station here at the Bird Garden channel are all Wild Bird Unlimited. And that's, I'm not sponsored. I take nothing from Wild Bird Unlimited. They don't give me anything. They don't ask me to say anything. I just have over 50 years of feeding birds. And now I'm doing a 24/7 live bird feeding station on a YouTube channel called the Bird Garden. I've decided this is the best for me right now. And it truly has been the best in so many ways. Let me just give you an idea. I'm paying a premium for that stuff at Wild Birds Unlimited, but I haven't had a squirrel in a year. One may show up today, but in the past, I've battled the squirrels. I've let the dog out when the squirrels were out there consuming all my bird food. I haven't had but one starling. The European starling is like the pestilence around here. They come to your bird feeding station, eat all your food, and they leave. And they're just not well thought of. They're a cool bird. If you just look at them as an individual, they're actually very striking, very smart. They can learn to talk. They're mimics. really cool. But they were an invasive species and they don't have a lot of predators, so they've displaced a lot of native species. So as that starling species is doing well in the United States, probably forcing out some other species that were native species. So it's not cool in that way. So I don't really want to attract them. Okay, I understand they're there already. It's not my fault, but I don't like to see them crowding out other birds at my bird feeder. I don't think you do either. If you guys were crazy about starlings, well, I guess I'd try to attract them for you, but I don't think you are. I've had one starling. I've seen, well, there's been two or three or one at a time, but these little singles, or pairs come through, not the flock, not the murmuration. And this is why. And I thank Wild Birds Unlimited for that. Because the difference was when I switched foods from big box stores, 40-pound bag of black oil sunflower seeds, which I fed to birds for years and years and loved it. And listen, if you're feeding black oil sunflowers, you're doing the birds a service and they love it and you're attracting a lot of birds. I did it for years. And it was very economical and I could keep birds all year round, not bust the budget. But starlings were a big part of that consumer group that I was attracting to my yard. Well, I went away from the regular black oil sunflower seed and started feeding what they call a no mess food, which means there's no holes on the nuts. The birds don't have to crack the sunflower out of the sunflower seed. It's already whole. It's just the nut, just the heart. Now, somebody they had to do some labor, right, to get the shells off of the seeds, so it costs more. I'm paying a premium. I decided I'd pay a premium, no mess, no holes accumulating under the feeder, harboring bacteria, attracting rodents. Don't have it. That was why. That was my motivation. A side benefit was I don't have starlings. The starlings quit coming. The black oil sunflower seed wasn't there. Poof, starling gone. 14 people watching. We're still growing. Thank you guys for sharing this out. I appreciate it. Liquid Zoo Only Fins making it in here with a hello, birdie people. Great to have you, Matthew, as always. So no starlings, no holes, a little more money. Okay, that's my preference. It's my situation to do that. I think if you just had the black oil sunflower, perhaps the dollar store feed, I don't know, I've never used it. You could probably attract migrants. You can see migrants that easy. You see me switching hot and cold, preserving the old pipes here. Yeah. It is 40 minutes in. We got 16 people watching. We're talking about easy migration watching. We've recommended finding a birding trail near you. Just research it. Find out these birding trails are everywhere. They're maybe right under your feet and you didn't know it. Maybe you've been on one, didn't know you're on a birding trail. Check it out. There's a new one in Charleston, South Carolina. We've showed you over there at the Charleston Fossil Adventures. Go to their website. And that's our friend Ashby, who's been on the show a couple of times, helping you with bird fossils, finding shark teeth. He told us how to find shark teeth. Exactly how to find shark teeth. Where to go? Check out those shows featuring Ashby. Go to his website, find the blog tab, and inside the blog tab, he's revealed the new Low Country Birding Trail. And you want to learn something about really cool birds, check it out. I told you about the Facebook group, the Kingsport Birding Trail, KBT, the Kingsport Birding Trail Facebook group. Go over there, check it out. Ask to join if you're interested. So many community connections and birds. The migrating birds are flying right over the birding trails. So many benefits to a birding trail. Emotional health, physical health, community, economic impact, conservation, environment, education. And that's why you want to watch migrating birds. Why not do it the easy way? Now, I told you I was going to give you a couple of ideas, and that's cool. That's good to get you started in your yard on someone else's birding trail. All right, maybe your birding trail, maybe it's in your community. Where else can you see migratory birds? Well, this is what I would like you guys to do. Everybody in the chat right now, if you're watching live, I want you to do this, please. If you're watching the replay, please play along. Think of a couple of more ways I'm talking to you, think of a couple of ways you can watch migrating birds other than a birding trail and a feeding station at your house. 2 ways, all right? And I would like for you to put those in the comments below this video. This live stream is going to upload as content, and we'll have space under the uploaded video for comments. And I would love for you to comment where else, a couple more places, where else you can look at migrating birds. All right. Now, I'm gonna just name one. Okay. I'm gonna give you the name. I'm not going to describe it. Let your imagination run wild, and you're probably close. I'll tell you one of the trips that I made and participated in one of these things I'm going to tell you about. And they're all over. They're all over. And they're cool, man. They're cool. But I did one of these at the Grand Canyon National Park. It was so cool. If you'll comment about where else you can see migratory birds, I'll tell that story in a future live stream. I'll tell you about the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon what? This other place you can see migrants, and it's truly amazing. And I find a lot of beginner birders or people who aren't even birders yet, just people who can appreciate nature a little bit, the only requirement, they love these things. And it is a hawk watch. Okay. Now you do your research there. You do your due diligence. Hawk watch. All about the migrants. I did one in the Grand Canyon. I'd love to tell you about it. Oh, I love to share it. Such a wonderful thing. I've done hawk watches for dozens. I was going to say dozens. I don't even I'm dating myself. I've done hawk watches for a long time, and they're special. They're really cool. But this one at the Grand Canyon was, it was next level. You leave me some comments about 2 places, two ways you can watch migrants, and I'll tell that story in a future live stream. That's one of those if then. If you're into this, great. I'll know it by your comments. If you're not, it's cool. We'll move on. We'll try to find something you care a little more about. I like that. That's not a problem for me. I would like to do that. The court jester is here. Flying like some heat seekers. I'm not sure what that means. You got your eye on that, the Zen Ginger? I'm not familiar with the court jester. Okay, so the migration happens twice a year that I'm familiar with. And we call them neotropical species. They come from the tropics. They migrate north. They nest in the wide open expanses. They go back to the tropics. Big birds, little birds, in between birds. So cool. And there's a particular way of watching migrants that I hope someone comes up with. Okay, here's another promise. I'm thinking of another way to watch migrants that if it shows up, if someone picks up on this idea of watching migrants and puts it in the comments, I'll make a whole show about it. It'll be amazing. And we'll do a whole show on what you found out about this particular way, whatever it is. I haven't revealed it. To watch migrants. So I'm anxious to see if you'll play along, what you come up with. I think there's so many sources and so many ideas. It won't be a matter of it being difficult for you to find. It'll be a matter of you putting a little thought in and choosing 2. Now, of all of these, which 2 would interest me? I'd like to know. Tell me about it. So we talked about the importance of birding trails, the benefits of birding trails, and that Charleston Fossil Adventures has a new birding trail. And that I make birding trails. It's what I do. It's what I have done. It was my professional work. It was my senior year in college. My senior paper was titled "The Birds of West Kingsport," and essentially, I did a birding trail in West Kingsport, and that was my paper. I had different points that I would check very often. I put them on a map. Well, that was the beginning. That was the launch pad. Oh my gosh. Still, I go check those points. I mean, how many years ago was that? I ain't gonna tell you. So what I found out was that typically a birding trail was ordained as a birding trail when a state launched a state birding trail. That meant the governor allocated millions of dollars of resources to put up signs and designate areas as a birding trail to draw that his share, the governor's share, of that 17 billion, that's with a B as in boy, $17 billion of tax revenue. And that was a huge undertaking that you just couldn't push that rock up the hill. That had to come from the governor's office. That's how much money was required. So I figured out I don't have that much money. I don't have access to the governor's ear to tell him what a good deal that would be. So I shrunk it down to something that was manageable. Turned out to be a college paper in a Western hemisphere of a municipality. So very small chunk of real estate in comparison. And then later in my career, I thought, what if we expanded that to the entire municipality and called it a birding trail? I don't know. Well, needless to say, several states picked up on it. The National Park Service picked up on it. Other cities definitely picked up on it. Conservation organizations. The state legislator wrote us a citation for accenting and raising awareness to Tennessee's beautiful natural resources in a way it had never been done before. A municipal scale birding trail in a state that did not have a state birding trail. Maybe still doesn't. But so Kingsport birding trail, this was a funnel. Nobody wants to do a birding trail. Send all of your birding tax revenue right through us. We'll take care of it. Sure enough, we got a rare bird. And for a month on my way to work, I would stop at the location on the Kingsport birding trail to check on the bird, and I would meet birders from all over. Where you staying at this hotel? Money right in the local coffer, stuffing it full. There was a restaurant nearby. The restaurant owner was not a birder, became a birder. I became his consultant. He got Kingsport birding trail stickers for his door. He bought field guides for his servers. They were at the table. People at the table said, why are those people out there with binoculars? They're looking at this bird, had the page mark, showed them the bird. Tremendous windfall because we had a system built to host these people that were coming to see this thing rather than just, oh, yeah, there's more of those people out there. We celebrated a birding trail as a piece of infrastructure that recognized what was going on, and everybody throughout the city capitalized: restaurants, gas stations, hotels, which meant all that tax revenue, especially the local sales tax, boom. Good stuff. I can't unsee that. Okay, that's not a story. You're hearing me tell you a story. I didn't hear somebody tell me that story. I was a part of it. I witnessed it. I put the infrastructure on the ground, watched it work. We got to do that. We got to do that. So where's a good place to watch migration happen? Birding trail, man. Of course it is. Of course, it's probably why the birding trail is there, because you got bird moving all the time. Residential birds, birds nesting, birds being nomadic. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm not so much trying to convince you as I just like those thoughts going through my head. That's all positive stuff for me. That's great headspace. So why aren't there more bird trails? I don't know. I'm happy to have the ones we have. Do you have any more birding trails? Yeah, I got a call yesterday. Will you be on this conservation committee? Yes. Would you like to design us a birding trail? Yes. Yeah. Of course I would. It's what I do. It's what I have to bring to the community party. And I like sharing it with you. So it's you don't want to watch migration happen. You don't want to go someplace. You can't hang a feeder. Check out these online birding trails. Okay, just go. You think I showed you one picture of not that one, this one. Those were 3 birds that we didn't name on the Low Country Birding Trail. Lower left, that colorful one there, painted bunting. I have seen painted buntings on the Low Country Birding Trail. Amazing, jaw dropping. That's a male. The female is solid green. See the green on the back of the male there? The female is solid green. Okay, and then on the right corner, that's the pileated woodpecker or pileated, no incorrect pronunciation, whichever you prefer. Pileated woodpecker looks superficially like the ivory-billed woodpecker. That's extinct, not extinct. And we're gonna close with another word on that ivory bill. Stay tuned. And then in the upper left, you got the big great blue heron. Oh, I love that bird. I love you too. Look out! My dog came in to check on us. So those birds are all on the Low Country Birding Trail. I've seen those birds on the Low Country Birding Trail. You can see them by going to the virtual Low Country Birding Trail hosted by Charleston Fossil Adventures. Go to the blog tab. Read the blog on the Low Country Birding Trail. Look at the beautiful birds. Look at the lists of birds. Understand a little bit about a birding trail virtually. I mean, you don't even have to look out your window. That's about as easy as it gets. Whip's World says, Rack, I'm wet behind the ears as a newbie. What kind of bird are often seen in huge numbers that move like schools of fish evading a predator? I find it amazing that they navigate like that. Well, one that I'm familiar with, Whip's World, is the European starling. And they move like that school of fish. That's called a murmuration. It's a murmuration in the sky. And that synchronicity is amazing. How do they do that? I don't know, but it is cool. And oh man, yeah, I don't want to get into a topic that's not the topic, but that is definitely a part of migration when they get together like that and they move en masse and they get to where they're going in the springtime and they spread out and have a territory, or maybe a colonial territory. Maybe they have colony nesting. And then on the way back down south, if they're moving south, they'll group up again. Or maybe they're residential birds. And it's not so much that they're moving, migratory movement. It's just we don't have a territory anymore. So now we can hang out again. We can get together again. So spring and fall, it's the migratory calendar or clock, okay, even if they're not moving great distances. Good question. Thank you so much. The Zen Ginger says, hello, Lookie. Lookout says hello, Zen. All right, so I did show you I slipped and showed you the reveal before I was ready to reveal it. So I've made a new bird watching trail, another KBT. This one is the Kauai birding trail, Kauai, Hawaii. It's called the Garden Island. Less development, more natural range, more undevelopable range, the steep cliffs and the deep valleys and a rapid change in elevation. Amazing. And the birds, whoo, man, that's the place to go for birds. One of these days, people. In the meantime, I can ply my skill and organize a birding trail, the Kauai birding trail. And it's available on Facebook. If you want to go over to Facebook and look for the Kauai birding trail, I think the actual name of the group is Kauai birding trail, hashtag Kauai BT. I'd love to have you request a membership over there. I'll be happy to let you in. And man, you can see not only some amazing Hawaii birds and learn about Hawaii bird species that are endemic, meaning you're not going to see those here in East Tennessee or where you are if you're not in Hawaii, endemic species, endangered species, um, nesting seabirds like crazy. The one picture there is an albatross, a Laysan albatross. I'm a bird nerd. I've never seen an albatross. I would love to go to Kauai and see an albatross one of these days. And over there, not only will you learn about the spectacular birds, and maybe you trickle off one of these rabbit holes and find out several birds have gone extinct in Hawaii. Well, we don't like that. That's not what we like. And you just become more aware, more enthralled with this wildlife that someone else way over there gets to enjoy. Just bring it into your world. That's what I'm offering. Kauai Birding Trail Facebook group. Go ahead, click on over there. We're at the 57-minute mark. I don't get to talk a lot about it, but Facebook, Kauai Birding Trail, hashtag Kauai BT. You'll find interesting things over there. Like the post we made today, Kauai rainfall is more than 11.5 meters, not inches, meters annually. That's 450 inches plus. Yeah, real data. 11.5 meters of rain. It's all over there at the Kauai Birding Trail. Hashtag Kauai BT. Facebook. I hope to see you there. I really do. I hope you'll come over there and help me learn about migration in Hawaii. Do birds migrate in and out of Hawaii? I don't think so. I think they go there, they make it, or they don't. May have some stragglers, some vagrants that wander in. Lots of introduced species. They don't do that anymore. Thank goodness. Those invasives have really taken hold. But I don't know. Do they migrate? Somebody leave me a comment. Not hard to know more than I know. I've never been there. But I was able to do my research, bought a couple of books, scoured the internet. You know how we do. And now I thought was so interesting. I put together a collection of bird watching locations in Kauai for you to enjoy as the Kauai Birding Trail. And I certainly do hope that you will enjoy that. And you'd let me know, give me some feedback. Did you enjoy it? What'd you like about it? What else can we do? Join up. We'd love to have you as part of that team over there. In closing, we got 30 seconds. I'm going to say this. I told you we'd get back around to the ivory-billed woodpecker. Last week, we had Dr. Chris Haney as a guest talking about his book, Woody's Last Laugh. Fantastic book. I'm right in the very beginning of it, and it just has captured me. It's wonderful. Next week, we have got such a very special guest. I want you to be here. Mark it down on your calendars. Leave yourself a note. Matt Kortman of Mission Ivorybill is going to be our guest. And this is going to be an unbelievable show. Please tune in to hear Matt Kortman. His own words, he's a recovering attorney. He's also a field researcher looking in the backwoods swamps of Louisiana for the remnants of the Lord God bird. That's what they call the ivory-billed woodpecker. Some think it's extinct. The United States Fish and Wildlife Service have called for a declaration of extinction, which would remove the bird from the endangered species list, meaning it wouldn't have that protection. The habitat wouldn't have that protection due to extinction. And Matt Kortman, as you'll hear next week, has seen things that he cannot unsee. I'm going to leave it at that. And he's going to share it with us. I hope that you'll join us with Matt Kortman next week, right here on the Bird Talk Show. Until then, why don't you get out there and see some birds?